I'm here at the overseas call centre of a large insurance company. With me is customer service team leader Mr. Volty. Mr. Volty, how easy is it to provide great insurance service to your customers?
Well, we're on another continent. You can never get through. We've no idea who you are, and we're only allowed to work from a script with the information on the screen in front of us. Frankly, you'd be better with High House.
High House Insurance, your local experts. High House Insurance don't pay to be on comparison websites, so your premiums are better value. For a free, no-obligation quote, call Selsey 606 552. High House, local, reliable insurance. High Street, Selsey.
Selsey Internet Radio, the station that cares, that's definitely us. And welcome to this week's Selsey Internet Radio podcast, in which we have What's On, our weekly look at what's going on in and around the village for your education and entertainment. We have a visit to Keithy's Kitchen for a couple of recipes, keep us going. And we talk to Les Hilton from Sacos, or Sacos Musical Productions as they're now known, about the upcoming Christmas extravaganza and Easter Times show that they put on every year. So without further ado, let's get on with What's On. And these are just a few of the things that will be going on during the coming week. Right, on Tuesday the 17th in the evening at about 7:30, you can go along to the Fisherman's Joy and take part in the Ace Poker League. Now, for a £1 admin fee, you can play No Limit Texas Hold'em Poker, and you can build up points for that towards a grand final, and in the grand final there will be some significant cash prizes, so that's a cheap evening's entertainment there for £1. On Wednesday the 18th, Andrew Perry and Good Company are performing at St Wilfrid's Church Hall, and that's in Church Road of course, and that starts at 7:30pm, and they'll be playing folk and hokum and bluegrass, nice easy listening music, and the entrance for that is £3. On Thursday the 19th, Ladies in Contact will be meeting tonight in St Peter's Church Hall at 7:15pm, and there'll be a demonstration by Angela Benwell on a Christmas workshop. The cost is £2, which includes refreshments and a raffle ticket, so that's nice and easy. Friday the 20th, well, there's a watercolour workshop at the Selsey Centre from 10 till 4pm, and for more information on that you can call Angela Benwell on 01243 603 332. Now, on Saturday the 21st, there are a couple of Christmas fairs on, and the first one is St Wilfrid's Christmas Fair, and that's at the Church Hall in Church Road, and that runs from 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock, and there'll be stalls including cakes and candles and cards, toys, books, good as new, tombola, refreshments, and they're also inviting people to come along and meet Father Christmas and ask him to record a personal message to whoever they want. So that's at the Church Hall in Church Road from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Now, at St Peter's Church, there's a Christmas fair, and the stalls there selling mulled wine and mince pies and afternoon tea, and that's all for a 50p entry, and you can also join the choir in singing Advent songs, and maybe there'll be a visit from that to special someone. Now, the fair is open from 12 o'clock till 3 o'clock, so you can go from one to the other, can't you? You can have your whole fill of Christmas fairs there in one day. And there's also a Christmas market in the town hall from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock, held by Selsey U3A. So that's your day pretty much taken care of. That's a pretty busy Saturday, isn't it, getting around all those Christmas fairs? Now, you're entitled to take a rest from all that to and fro between Christmas markets and Christmas fairs. So on Sunday, put your feet up. Go down to the Seal on Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, and watch Andy Winfield and Steve Simpson. Now, they'll be performing blues, bluegrass and classic rock from 3 o'clock onwards. Great duo, well worth a listen, and you might just have earned that with yesterday's performance. And on Monday the 23rd, for the early birds, the Selsey Walkers meet at Budgeon's in the morning at 8 o'clock, so you can pop along there and join up with them and go out for your walk. I don't know where they go, but I'm sure somebody will tell you. And that's at 8 o'clock on Monday the 23rd. And that's about it for this week. And we go across to the kitchen now, where we're going to rustle up another couple of winter warmers. And our first recipe today is Cornish pie. Now this is a pie based on, or loosely based on, a Cornish pasty. And this will take about 15 minutes to prepare and cook for about 2.5 hours in total. And this will serve 6, so it's a nice easy dish to do. And this is what we need: 750 grams of lamb neck fillet cubed, 2 baking potatoes also cubed, 1 swede about 500 grams and that needs to be diced, 1 large onion roughly chopped, 750 ml of lamb stock hot, 1 tablespoonful of fresh thyme leaves, 2 tablespoonsful of Worcestershire sauce, 500 grams of fresh buff pastry, plain flour for dusting, and 1 beaten egg. And this is what we do. Put the lamb, the vegetables, the stock, the thyme and the Worcester sauce into a large pan and bring to the boil on the hob, skimming off any foam that rises to the surface. Reduce the heat and cover and simmer for about an hour. Now remove the lid and simmer for a further hour until reduced a bit and the potatoes have partially dissolved, thickening the sauce into a gravy. Preheat the oven to 200 degrees centigrade, that's 180 on the fan or gas mark 6. Tip the filling into a 2 litre pie dish, roll out the pastry on a floured surface until 3 or 4 centimetres bigger than the pie dish, then lay that on top of the filling, crimp the edges inside the dish like the crust of a Cornish pasty, brush the top of the pie with egg, snip a few air holes in the centre and bake for 30 minutes until golden. How bad's that? Lovely and warm, eh? Serve up with some nice vegetables and some potatoes and there you go. And our second recipe is potato and Stilton soup. Now it's one of the few things that I do like about the winter is you do get some nice soups about. This will serve 6 to 8 people and it'll freeze, so no problem, make a big batch of it and then you can freeze some up and then you won't have to worry about preparation next time you fancy some. It's a nice easy dish to prepare. It takes about 10 minutes to prepare it, about 45 minutes to cook, so very simple. But a lovely warming dish with some nice crusty bread or some crusty cobs or something. And this is what we need: 1 large knob of butter, 2 chopped onions, 2 chopped celery sticks, 2 fresh thyme sprigs, 1 kilo of Maris Piper potatoes diced, 2 litres of chicken or vegetable stock hot, and 200 grams of Stilton crumbled and 150 ml of double cream. Not fattening then, is it? And this is what we do. Heat the butter in a large pan, add the onions and celery and cook for 10 minutes until it's nicely softened. Now add the thyme, potatoes and stock and bring to the boil. And simmer gently for about 30 minutes until the potatoes fall apart when poked with a knife. Lift out and discard the thyme stalks and using a hand blender, whiz until smooth. I like that, whiz until smooth. Stir in most of the cheese and cream and heat through gently and ladle into bowls. Grind over some black pepper, sprinkle over the remaining cheese and serve with nice crusty bread, or actually you could serve it with scones. It's very nice with scones. And that's it, a nice simple dish to keep you warm through the winter. I have with me now Les Hilton, and Les is chairman of Sacos, which is Selsey Amateur Choral and Operatic Society, or leastways it was. It's now Sacos Musical Productions. And Les is going to be giving us a little bit of an insight into what's involved in putting on these shows. Now, they are a tremendous standard, they're almost professional standard, and if you've ever had the pleasure to have attended one, I'm sure you'll agree. Now, Les, we've got the Christmas extravaganza coming up, and that's going to be in early December, I believe, yeah?
Yes, it's on the Friday the 4th and Saturday the 5th of December. We've got 3 shows. We've got Friday evening at 8 p.m, then we've got the matinee Saturday at 3 p.m, and then again Saturday night at 8 p.m.
We'll all be having a lot of fun then.
Yeah.
Yes, I must explain at this stage that I've been involved in it in the past myself. I'm having a rest this year, but it really is some good fun, and everybody really enjoys doing it. On top of that, we've got the show. Well, I say we've got the show. You've got the show coming up in, is it April?
Well, it's the end of March.
It's the end of March this year,
because of the way
falls.
Easter falls. Yeah, but we're doing Hello Dolly, which is the show we're doing this year. We're really looking forward to it because it's the first time that the Society have done this particular production. So yeah, it should be quite exciting really. It's got quite a young cast as well, which is something we've been working on for quite a few years now at Sacos to try and
attract some young
trying to attract the youngsters and keep the youngsters in, and this show, believe it or not, even though it's not necessarily a modern show, it's actually got a good cast set for a relatively young age. And I mean by young age, I'm sort of talking kids from sort of 12 to sort of 18, 19, 20. We've got some good parts for them.
It's good to see the youngsters coming through on it, because I know, from Sacos that we were a bit short on young blood for a while.
We did struggle for a while.
Yeah, well, it's good to see youngsters coming through.
And having watched some of them in the production of Grease earlier in the year, I think we could be in for some very pleasant surprises. There's some real good talent about.
Now tell us a bit about putting on the show, because everybody just turns up and pays their money and gets a ticket and watches it, and every year they say, "Oh, it was brilliant." How do they put such a good show on? But of course, people have no concept whatsoever of what goes into it. The amount of rehearsals that are done, I know, because I didn't used to put my book down until 2 minutes before I went on the stage. Sometimes even shorter than that. But the cost of it as well. There's an immense cost to putting it on.
Yeah, I mean, it's the average show cost-wise can cost anything up to sort of £15,000. I mean, that's total everything, which surprises a lot of people, because people think you're only putting a show on it.
That's right. You get a few people up there and they act, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. But the reason it costs that sort of money is because, as you quite rightly say, even though we are an amateur society, we try to put on as close to a professional show as we possibly can. So we use professional sound engineers, we use professional lighting people, we have a professional band, which is, I believe this year is a 14-piece band.
14.
And it's one of the things that people do remember our shows for. The music by the orchestra is just absolutely fabulous.
It's what gives it its professional edge, and of course the sound and lighting is the same thing. We've now, I say we because I'm muscling on us a little bit, but we've never skimped on it. We've always got good people and good quality sound and lighting. If people could see the amount of work that goes in just setting up the lighting and the sound, they'd be surprised. Let alone, and we've been very lucky, of course, with the people, or Sacos have been very lucky with the people that they've had being very reasonably priced and looking after us a little bit, because they've been doing it for years.
It's and much appreciated for people to do that for us. And there's lots of other things that go on. I mean, we start the whole process. I mean, if you imagine, the main show is normally in April, so it's around Easter. But you think we start the process back in September of the year before, where we normally start the rehearsals, and then coming into October we have all the auditions when we find who all the principal parts are going to be and that sort of stuff. Then we have a little bit of a rest because we're then all practicing for the Christmas extravaganza, and then the cast come back in January, and it's full on twice a week and a few Sundays right through to the beginning of April when the show's taken. So it's a lot of commitment from the sort of cast, which is but they all enjoy it because it's a hobby for them and they all love to do it. And on top of the cast, I mean, we've also got all the people that deal with all the backstage and all of that. Now that process starts, as you full well know, being part of the committee a few years ago. That process can start anything up to a year before the show is going to be. From once we've chosen the show, we then start looking for the props and we start looking for the scenery, and because things do cost so much money, we have to be quite inventive with where we sort of find these things. And again,
indeed.
we're very lucky with some of the people we've got in the society that have got experience with, props and scenery and stuff and costumes. But it's a long old process, and it takes an awful lot of people to do it. But we've got a really good group of people, and they seem to enjoy doing it. And I think that makes a big difference. If you enjoy doing it, you sort of get there.
As you say, I know from experience being backstage, in the dressing room, people enjoy it so much doing it. It's a lot of hard work. Like it was for me anyway. I always found it extremely difficult. But I don't think there's any buzz like it as when you step out on stage on that first night, and step off the stage at the end, and there's rapturous applause, and thankfully there always has been.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a buzz, but it's a lot of hard work that goes into it. Now, I know that shows are chosen possibly 18 months before they go on. Now, who actually decides what show you do?
Well, it sort of changes sometimes every year depending on how we do it. We always try to get the society involved in a way of what they want to put on. So, for example, the last two shows were decided because we canvassed all of the society and we asked them all to put a list of their 3 favourite shows, and obviously we got a feeling from who voted for what to what were the more popular ones within the society. So that sort of gives us a list to start with. So that's generally how we start. So we get it from the members. But not only that, we also, once we get that list, we then have to do all the relevant sense checking around it. Make sure it's available, because not all shows are available to amateur productions.
Oh, absolutely.
We also have to, and I sort of smirk while I'm saying this, we also have to be a little bit realistic and realise that we can cast it from within the society that we've got.
Yes. It's not always easy, that one.
No, it's not. And as much as we'd love to do some shows, it really just isn't realistic with what we've got. But, as I say, we're getting some more younger people now, and that opens up the show's possibilities that we can do.
Absolutely, yes.
Going
Absolutely.
forward, which is what we want, So it's a bit of a hard question to sort of answer exactly how we do it, because there's a lot of things that come involved in how we get there, because also we've got to look at, what's the scenery, what's the costume, there's a lot of effort gone into checking the shows that we can possibly do to see that they're feasible.
I think a lot of people think that if you want to put a show like that on, you just put it on.
Yeah.
And then where do you learn the words? Well, YouTube. You can probably get them off of YouTube.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that at all, does it?
No, it doesn't.
You've got the libs, you've got the scores. They've all got to be paid for. The permission has got to be granted to do the show, and there are many things that curtail that. Certainly things like if the show's on in London, we're not far enough away from London to be able to put the show on at the same time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The things that, and I'm sure many people won't know that there's these limitations on it, and so picking a show I know it is. It's extremely difficult. And sometimes there's groans, as there was when South Pacific was picked, and yet at the end of it, everybody said, "What a wonderful show!" We really all enjoyed it, and it was tremendous.
And I think that is what happens. It doesn't matter what show you pick. You're absolutely right. You're never going to please everybody all of the time, but year on year, we get the audience in. We get the same feedback that the audience love it, the cast love it by the time we get to the end of it, and that's the important thing, really.
That's the thing is there's moans and groans along the way, but usually by the end of it, everybody said what a wonderful time they've had and they've really enjoyed it, and so much work goes into it with costumes. I know Sacos do extremely well costumes wise. If you see the shows. The past two shows, South Pacific and Calamity Jane, were phenomenal. A chap because I was doing front of house for Calamity Jane, and a chap came out and said to me, I've seen this show everywhere across the country. Everywhere it's been, and it's been done by amateur productions, I've been and seen it. This is the best one I've seen in 25 years. And that's some accolade from a guy who follows the show all around the country, and just compares people's performances. So that was a hell of an accolade for that show. Yeah, and of course for South Pacific, people came out and said, oh, it was wonderful. The different people who played different parts really got into it and made it most enjoyable. So what starts out to be maybe not the best show that most people would think, it usually turns out to be a brilliant production, and people are certainly people on the stage are having a whale of a time, and I'm sure that comes across actually.
Yeah, I'm sure it does, and we're very lucky because with the directors that we've had in the past, we've had them where they're not 100% stayed at wanting to stick 100% to what it says. We have to stick to it relatively closely, obviously, because of the licenses, but what they do allow us to do is they allow us to have the fun on the stage and sort of bring that in, which is why everyone starts to enjoy it.
I'm sure many people wouldn't even understand that you are not allowed to deviate by any great amount from the original score.
No.
And one of the things that stuck with me was I think the end of the Pier show, when we did the medley from Les Mis, and we weren't allowed to march on the stage.
That's right.
That was restricted.
Yeah.
So
not allowed to march, not allowed to wear costumes that are associated with the show. It was quite bizarre, really, but.
Well, people will understand from it how difficult then it becomes to get a show together, and so how do you fund it? Because 15 grand's an awful lot of money to raise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an awful lot of money. We have several streams of revenue that we try to do. First of all, we obviously have the membership, which does fund some of it, because even though we are a membership society, so obviously we all pay to be part of that, and those sort of fees go towards the running of the society. But we're a membership of approximately 40 people, so quite clearly the money for the shows doesn't come from that, because we'd all be paying ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah, if you sold every ticket for every day, for every performance, it still wouldn't cover it.
No, exactly. So most of the money that we do comes really from either fundraising or sponsorship, and that's really the main thing. We tend to do 2 to 3 events a year that are fundraising. The main point of the Christmas extravaganza that we're doing shortly is to raise the money for helping to pay for the show, because the Christmas extravaganza is a relatively low cost thing to set up. So we normally, as long as we get the people in, which we generally do, that helps bring some money towards starting for the show. We've also got some very good sponsors in the village which give us money throughout the year to help going towards it. We do lots of raffles and things at the events we do, which a raffle always raises money, which is good. Yeah. We put events on during the year. In the past we've done music events, and you've in fact done music events for us yourself.
Yes, indeed.
To help raise money, and we generally put a couple of those on. We'll be doing some of those again over the next year. I think in February we're going to do a fish and chip night again, very similar to what we did last year, which was very successful. Lots of people came, really enjoyed it, and that'll be the same sort of thing. It'll be at the town hall, there'll be a fish and chip night, and we'll have some sort of musical entertainment at that evening. We do quiz nights throughout the year. We'll be doing one in May. Don't know the exact dates of these things yet, but we're going to be doing a quiz night in May, so that normally helps to raise money, and we'll be doing a sing-along sometime in June or July. Either something like The Sound of Music or Mamma Mia. Again, not quite sure details, but they're the sort of things that we do to try and sort of raise the money, and of course the money that comes in from the ticket sales as well, which sort of goes towards it. So a lot of effort is put in throughout the year to enable us to do the shows. Basically, it's not just a simple turn up and do the show and that's it, because we've got to do other stuff throughout the year, which thankfully our members do, and also thankfully we've got lots of lots of the general public around Selsey that support us at all of these events, which is, what we need. So
They are well supported, and quite rightly so, because they're a good standard. They really are a good standard. Now, ticket sales for the Christmas extravaganza, are they on sale yet?
they are on sale. You can get the tickets at the moment from our resident box office, which is High House Insurance Services, which is in the High Street.
Good old Neil.
Good old Neil, yeah. Very good supporter of Sacos. He's selling the tickets currently now, so he's open every day during the week, and he's open Saturday mornings till lunchtime, I believe. So yeah, head down there and pick the tickets up from them.
Now, there you go, that's tickets available now, and that's for the 4th and 5th of December. So unless you want to miss out, and it'll be your own fault if you do, get yourself down to High House Insurance and pick up some tickets for the Christmas extravaganza, and then that will raise enough money for Sacos Musical Productions to put on their show in Easter or whenever it is, around that time, end of March, and then you can go and watch Hello Dolly, and you won't be sorry you've gone to see that either.
Well, thanks for coming in, Les, and giving us an insight into Sacos and how difficult it is to put the shows on. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you again in the not too distant future.
Indeed, thanks very much.
Cheers now.
Cheers, bye-bye.
The Weather Report.
So here's a look at the weather for the coming week up until Sunday the 22nd. Well, Tuesday unfortunately is going to be extremely wet. Yeah, 100% it's going to rain. Wind speeds up to 29 miles an hour, so it's going to be a very nice time at all. Wednesday's going to be windy, but there's only a 20% chance of rain. Temperatures around 14, 15, so still not too bad. Thursday, once again, we've got a 60% chance of rain. Wind speeds down to about 18 miles an hour from west-southwest. Friday it's going to be basically dry. Might be a chance of an odd shower. Temperatures down to 10 degrees. Winds dropping down to 17 miles an hour from west-southwest or west-northwest, sorry. Saturday's going to be sunny, but it's going to be cold. Dropping down to 7 degrees, and the winds at 19 mile an hour north-northwest, so they're coming around from the north now. And on Sunday, Sunday's going to be colder still. There's only a 10% chance of rain, so very little chance of rain there. Almost guaranteed a dry day, but cold. 6 degrees, so winter temperatures starting to set in now, and wind speeds of about 19 miles an hour. So it's going to be a windy week and getting very cold towards next weekend. And that's it for the podcast this week. Just leaves me to say thank you to producer John Fletcher and to yourselves for listening in. And don't forget, if you want to contact us and send us any comments or any items you'd like to discuss, you can do that by emailing us at studio.selseyinternetradio@gmail.com, or you can text us or phone us on 0755 119 3019. This is Keith Barnes saying thank you very much for joining us, and see you again soon. Bye for now.